We're here with Tom Annett, Korah coach for the senior Colts. How are you tonight, Tom?
Doing great.
You getting ready for tomorrow?
We are. We suited up a bunch of kids, and we're really excited to get started this season.
And that's one thing. I talked to Jim Monaco of St. Mary's and Paul Rossetti from Superior Heights earlier, and they say it's like kids in candy store for you guys. It's the start of the regular season.
Yeah. Oh, it's always exciting. I mean, no one's lost a game yet, right? So everyone's
exactly.
Super excited to get at it.
And first things first, how was your summer?
Summer was great, very relaxing, but our guys worked hard in the off season too. We did strength and conditioning throughout the summer, and it was our best attended strength and conditioning year we've ever had. So we're pretty excited about that.
And we're talking a little bit going into 2022. Is it a little bit harder when you have a target on your back with so many season championships and OFSA and NASA championships?
Well, to be honest, it's not even a thought in our heads. I don't know if other teams think that way. This is a completely different team. And every year you're starting over. Like, this team hasn't won any championships yet. There's a lot of new faces and a lot of players, even that we had last year. They've changed physically and as leaders. So, I think our players are pretty good. They understand that this team has a lot of work to do if they even want to be using the same sentences as some of those previous championship teams.
And we were talking a little bit at the Wheaton Memorial Tournament the past weekend. Is you got a little bit of competition there at the QB position. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we graduated Ryan Barnes at the quarterback position, who was excellent for us. We have 3 athletes that are going to be working at that position in training camp. One is Eric Martone, who was our junior quarterback and did a great job winning a city championship with our junior program. We have Lucas Malcolm, who plays DB for us, but also was a backup quarterback last year. And he played a fair amount. We actually used him quite a bit later in the season, so we could use Ryan Barnes at some other positions. And then we have newcomer Gabe Byron, who's a super athletic guy, and we're excited to see what he can do in that position as well. And where we go with that, I don't know if one's going to be a true starter. It could very well be that we use all 3. We really don't know yet, so it's going to be interesting. That's one of the things we're going to figure out in training camp.
Now, is it going to be a little bit harder for Byron with a couple of years off, do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be an adjustment period, considering he hasn't played. But like I said, he's a phenomenal athlete. I'm pretty confident he's going to pick it up quick. But just, he has some physical tools that not many people have. But you're right, it's going to take some time. But our coaching staff is pretty excited about the opportunity to work with him. And we'll see how that goes. And Gabe's going to play some other positions as well. Same with Malcolm. I mean, you're probably going to see both of them in the defensive backfield, in addition to QB.
And not putting any pressure on Gabe, but if he's anything like his brother Michael you coached, you sure hell you have a hell of a player there, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Michael played quarterback for us as well and was tough as nails. So we're excited to have another Byron in the program for sure.
Can you talk a little bit about the rest of the offensive line?
Yeah, the offensive line should be really strong this year, and we pride ourselves in our offensive line. We refer to them as the chain gang, and we return a lot of starters on the offensive line. So we're going to use a few different formations, but sometimes we'll use tight ends, and we return Johnny Filion at that spot along with Ethan Scott. At tackle, we have Josh Etter played there at Finch. We had Maverick Corboy Beatty. We have a lot of guys got experience. I'm not going to start naming here because I'm going to forget them all, but we didn't, I don't like to think that we had true starters at each position. We rolled guys. And I think that's a testament to the depth we have that we developed through strength and conditioning. Guard is the premier spot in our offense. I know a lot of offenses like to showcase their quarterbacks or maybe running back, but at Korah, at least for the past few years, it's been guard. And we return last year's Hargraves winner for lineman of the year, Dante Skaggs, at that spot, as well as Jonah Pavoni. Now we're going to use multiple players at guard as well. We have a newcomer, Marcus Graham, who played center for the SaberCats. He may see some duty at guard as well, but in addition to center, we bring up the junior lineman of the year in Spencer Hedrick. He may see some guard spot. Owen Tricarton played guard for us last year. He may be back. Drew Esposito played some guard for us. So, I mean, it's the premier spot. Evan Novello played some guard. But we roll guys because it's such a demanding position in our program that we like to have depth and use it there. Jacob Brown's probably the guy who's kind of got the most heavily recruited guy in our O-line. I mean, he's 6'5", 245 pounds. We used him in multiple spots as well, primarily tackle, a little bit of tight end, but we use him in the backfield as well. So, I know I'm forgetting some guys right now, but you're going to see a ton of guys repping those spots, not just a set 5 or 7. It's going to be a lot rotating through. And like I said, it's going to be the strength of our team again this year. We love to run the ball and then take some deep shots. And I think this year's probably going to kind of be a lot of the same.
And we can't forget defense. Can you talk a little bit about your defensive line?
Yeah, and we have guys learn a spot on both sides of the ball just to build depth. So I already mentioned Jacob Brown, but he was Ontario high school provincial all-star at that spot, and also Dante Skaggs, he was a lineman of the year in the league last year prior to his injury. So those two guys are going to anchor it down. But we also returned Josh Eder, who played DN for us, as well as Johnny Filion and Ethan Scott played some end. And lots of talent moving up from the junior team there as well. I mean, they had a great line play as well. And Marcus Graham, who I mentioned earlier, you're probably going to see him playing some defensive line at some point in the season as well. So the line on both sides of the ball should be, big, physical, and strong. And we're excited about it.
And like you mentioned Skaggs a little bit, and he must be a little bit hungry, missing most of the season with that injury, isn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it was the last regular season game of the year where he had that injury that he wasn't able to finish it out. But he had a great recovery. I think the medical team he was seeing, including his surgeon and Matt Klebus, who worked with him, was our team physiotherapist. I mean, his recovery time is mind-boggling. I mean, he's a little bit of a genetic freak, just in how he develops in the weight room, but I think that also carried over to his knee. But also credit to the team, Brad Schlegel, what he did with the surgery, and Matt Klebus with the recovery, and of course Dante. He put in a tremendous effort, just determined to get back on the field, and he's excited. He's getting some interest to play at the next level too. So pretty exciting for him.
And that's even a little bit more motivation, right? Like you say, it's everybody, again, they're playing for your roster, but when they think they might have another next level chance, it even gives you more motivation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we graduated 3 guys into university programs right now with Connor Ritchie, Mike Nicoletta, and also Gabe at Queens. So Gabe Weir at Queens. And I'm hearing all 3 of those guys are doing excellent at training camp. And we have a few more guys on the roster this year that definitely have potential to play at the next level. And
it shows even this year, we're talking St. Mary's, Spear Heights, and Korah, quite a few 5th years, but that's surely going to make the season entertaining, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of 5th years, it seems like, on every team, which of course is just going to make the league very strong. And it's good to see, because I think it'll make roster numbers healthy. I know that was an issue for a few teams in the past few years, but you never know the season's going to go. But on paper, all 3 teams look very, very strong this year, which should make for an excellent league.
This question here is a 2-part question. You're playing here on Heights, the number 1 ranked team in Ontario on September 24th.
Number 1 in Canada.
Number 1 in Canada, sorry.
Yeah.
On your bye week, first part is, why are you taking up a bye week with a game like that? And second of all, as a coaching staff, what are your expectations?
Well, one of our core values in our program is compete. And, we want to play the best because it makes us better, regardless of the outcome. I mean, we got a good squad. You never know. We're going to do our best to compete, and our kids are excited about the opportunity more than anything. It's very rare to get any teams to travel to Sault Ste. Marie to play us from out of town. So to get the number 1 team in Canada, I mean, I see it as an incredible opportunity, not only for our players or our whole program, and just, for football in Sault Ste. Marie, for fans and everyone. And the fact they're coming up the following week to play St. Mary's, I think it's excellent for our whole community, really. And, part of the reason they're coming here too is just because no one's going to play them in their area. They're so strong, and a lot of the GTA and surrounding areas just don't want to play them. But we've got great high school football in the Sioux, and we're excited for the challenge.
That's exactly, again, Jim Monaco said with them coming up the following week, and Paul Rossetti said, because you two are playing them, they're playing somebody in Niagara Falls. But going back, Superior Heights is playing Sioux High, but that's really the option you guys really have all the time, is going across the river, right? So it's nice to see a different team being able to play you guys.
Yeah, I'll tell you, those games across the river, we love them too. I mean, it's unfortunate with COVID, the past couple years made it a real challenge, but it's not as easy to find those games as much anymore, since a lot of the UP teams switched to 8 or 9 man football. There's not as many open dates, but that's something in the future. We've always had a great experience when our players played in the States, and it's something we'll keep doing in our program.
And again, I know the schedule is not released, but talking to Paul and Jim today, with only 3 teams, it's not hard to say who you're playing in the first week. Superior Heights is your first game. Can you talk about week 1 matchup? Again, process elimination, not hard to figure out who you're playing, right?
Yeah, that's a for sure thing. We know we're playing, and I think it's just a matter of days or even hours before it's confirmed to the public. But yeah, we're playing Superior Heights week 1, and that's a rematch of last year's city finals. We know they return a lot of talent. They have a 5th-year QB who was the starting QB for the SaberCat. So, it's going to be a challenge, but that's every game. I don't think it's just, there's not one team that's weaker than anyone else. I think all 3 teams are going to be excellent, and we're going to give each game each week the full attention it deserves.
And that's like Paul Rossetti, Superior Heights coach, said, is first time you guys played them last year, you won by over 30 points, and the city championships was only 11. So Paul says, in his eyes as a coach, it's a big progression over the season. So it should be a good opening game, shouldn't it?
Oh yeah, should be great. We're excited for the opportunity. I know they return a lot of linemen as well, and our kids are super excited about it.
And the last one, a question I always ask, is one of the biggest things I believe is talent is just not enough. Do you agree with that statement, or your opinion on that statement?
Yeah, I was reading a book actually a little while ago. I didn't finish it, but it was called Talent is Overrated. And I agree 100%. There's a lot of people with all the talent in the world that don't take advantage of it. It's something we try and instill in our athletes to reach their full potential. And, a lot of what we do in our program is about character building. And that doesn't just apply to the athletic realm, but, in life, with their families, with their careers as well. So I couldn't agree more with that statement. In fact, it's something we often echo to the players in our program.
And something not to ask, because again, you see your players tomorrow, but talk about a little bit about your leadership core and what you're expecting from your leadership core this season for 2022.
Yeah, we put a premium on leadership in our program, and we tell our guys we're only going to go as far as our leaders take us. So it's a pretty prestigious role to have in our program in terms of captain, but we don't even really distinguish that much. We want as many leaders as we can have in our program. So we're trying to teach everyone to be a leader, and being selfless and servant leadership is kind of a theme in our program. And since we've been doubling down on that, it's turned into a lot more success on the field too. But really the true testament of it, if this is working, is when I see these guys 10, 15 years after they graduate. Are they, good fathers, good husbands, good leaders within the community? And ultimately, that's what we want to see as coaches. I mean, wins and championships are great, but that means more than anything in our program.
Well, I use that as an example, and not to say hype you up even more, but we were talking at the Wheaton tournament the other day, and 2 players walked up, former players walked up to you and said, "Hey, Coach Annett, how are you?" And just them remembering, "Hey, how are you? You done something right when you did coach them or taught them," right?
Yeah, I know it's cliche because you hear coaches say this a lot, but it really is the best part of coaching when you run into a former player and you hear how well they're doing. It means a lot. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's the goal. And when we see people be successful, that's why we coach, really. That's what it's all about.
And last thing is not to put pressure on any of the players, but you start training camp tomorrow. Who do you think is going to jump in and stand out mostly?
Oof. Well, I mean, that's what tomorrow's for. We're going to see. But, so many guys had phenomenal off seasons. I can't just name a handful. Like, I'm excited to watch all these guys compete. I think they're all, so many of them transform their bodies just over the course of the year. Excited to see what they can do now, being bigger, stronger, faster. So I really can't name a one person there. I mean, if you ask me in a few weeks, maybe I can point out a few exceptional athletes, but for tomorrow, I don't know yet, really.
And you being, say, for high school social media, I don't want to call you the king, but I guess that's what I'll call you is, I think we just have to scroll back on your Instagram. We can tell some of the players that are probably going to stand out just by what they've been posting on their social media and how they have transformed, right?
Yeah, well, that's been, we've been going hard on that. It's helping promote our program. We do a lot of good things, but it helps, get some publicity about some of the good things we do in our program, and the kids enjoy it too. We want to celebrate the success of our program and especially our players, and that's a great forum to do it. So, yeah.
And the biggest thing, again, sports, I'm saying school is the main thing, but sports comes second. And it's something, even social media does help players get recruited. So it does help these players get to the next level, right?
Oh, absolutely. The amount of contacts we have with university coaches through things like Instagram is crazy. I mean, the old school way before we started that, we get calls here and there or an email, but it's almost daily now, the communication we have with university level coaches that are interested in our players, and being kind of isolated in Sault Ste. Marie too. Like, they don't see as much. So it's a great way to get out our brand and just the great football that's played in Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, Tom, I can't thank you enough, and hopefully we can talk after the opening week.
I'd love that, Jay. Thanks so much. And we really appreciate everything you do for high school sports and local high school football. So thank you, and go Colts, TPW.